Suprabhatam. Today we chanted Jnana Yoga Shloka Sangraha, and Jnana Yoga, one of the main aspect is questioning, but something else has to come along with questioning, which is often absent in the modern times. That is clarified in one of the verses that we chanted today. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. It gives three qualities, three fundamental qualities of a student. If you look at the three qualities, especially the first two, they look contradictory. It says pranipata. Pranipata means prostrating or an external expression of surrender or faith. And immediately next word says pariprashna. Pariprashna is questioning. Now you all know in your houses, whenever you question something, if your parents were performing some ritual, if you ask them why, what did they tell you? Don't question such things, you have to go by faith. Actually, that is a distorted version of actual spirituality. I will clarify. In fact, not just spirituality, any process, even the process of science, will progress only when both faith and questioning go together. If only one of them exists, nothing much happens. See, for example, suppose I went out on a voyage on the sea. I went out for a few years and then came back after 5-6 years. And after I came back, I told you, people, that I have found a new island which is very prosperous. It has a lot of precious stones, whatever. I told you. After 5 years, 6 years, I came back and I told you, I have found a new island. Now, there are three types of responses possible for this statement from me. One group of people will say, we believe you, you are true, you are great, and they will start worshipping me. Another group of people will say, it has taken 5-6 years for you, maybe you didn't see anything, how can we believe you? Maybe you are simply fooling us. The first group of people will believe me, the second group of people will disbelieve me, and there will be a third group of people who will ask me, we neither believe you nor disbelieve you, you tell us how to get there, we want to see it ourselves. Only if I see it myself, I will believe you. There is no question of believing of that. You tell us the route, how to get there, and whatever else you know about how to get there, you tell us, we will test it ourselves. The third group of people are now, in today's times, endangered species. People are always busy in either believing or disbelieving. Seekers are very less. They are endangered species in our times. Because the first two options are very easy to execute. Once you believe, you don't have to do anything. Once you disbelieve, you don't have to do anything. You can sit, you can sleep in your house. There is no need to put any effort after that. Once you say, I believe or disbelieve, there is no further need to put any effort because you have simply brushed the whole thing aside, saying it is meaningless. Without even testing it, you have simply brushed it aside, telling it is not there, or it is there, whatever it is. So today, these two types of people are large in number, the first two types of people. If somebody like Buddha comes and tells, I have seen the peak of consciousness, I have seen the end, I have seen the fulfillment of life, We will keep Buddha on the pedestal and worship him. We will not try to do what he says. We will keep him on the pedestal, Krishna, Buddha, Shiva, whoever it is. We are always busy raising them to heavens instead of listening to them, and all of them finally told. All of them finally gave methods as to how we also can get there. Nobody said. None of them said that only I can do it, you cannot. None of them said that. But our tamasic minds, our lazy minds, always wants to be cozy in its own cocoon, and therefore, even if somebody comes and tells, there is something more, I have seen it, even you can, I will tell you also how to see it. We won't pay attention to it mostly. We will say you are great, or we will say you are a liar. That's all we do mostly. So these theists or atheists are both getting nowhere actually. One group believes, another group disbelieves. In fact, disbelieving is another form of believing only. It is not a different thing actually. Once you say disbelieving, it's actually belief of another type. So if you simply go by belief about something that you don't know, in spite of somebody telling you, I will tell you how to get there, that is actually unscientific. See, if somebody comes and tells you, I have seen something, but only I can see it, you cannot, then yes, then you brush him aside. That is not meaningful anyway. If he says, only I can see, you cannot, then yes, you brush him aside. There is no further anything to do there, because he is saying only he can do it. But in yoga, nobody said like that. They laid down the methods, they laid down so many techniques, they laid down so many types of paths and told whichever is suitable to you, you choose. All paths are valid, all paths will lead to the same state, which will give you fulfillment of life. But still, if we sit wherever we are and simply criticize and comment on it, saying, how do we believe it, give me proof. The proof will come only if you put the effort. That people don't really recognize. Even in science, how does proof come about? Does proof come about simply? Is it like simply showing a banana? Proof, show the like a banana. Show me the proof. Is it like that? Even acknowledging the proof, even getting the proof requires some effort. And here, in yoga, spirituality, adhyatma, it is a subjective science. The proof will not come from outside. If you do something with you, the proof will come. But you are unwilling to even put the effort. You say, I want proof beforehand. In fact, even in science, proof doesn't come beforehand. This is something that we don't notice with science actually, but that is what happens in science also. These two things, surrender and questioning, happen together even in science. See, for example, you want to join a quantum physics course, suppose, and you don't know anything about quantum physics. Now, to begin with, you don't know anything, and you are willing to join a course to learn quantum physics. Does the proof of quantum physics come on the first day, or does the proof come before you join? The proof comes only after you put some efforts. The derivation happens. You understand the derivation only after you learn. Even to understand the proof, you need some eligibility. The proof will not simply come like a banana in front of you, okay, I saw the proof. It is not like that. Even to see the proof, you have to put some efforts. So in the case of science, what is happening is, when we join a course, suppose a course on quantum physics of 2 years, all of us are willing to go through those 2 years without knowing head and tail about quantum physics. That very willingness to put 2 years into that field shows we have some faith on that field, on those scientists who ever did something. And there is some inference also. The technological developments will give you some inference. Yes, there must be something there. Similarly, in yoga also you can infer. People who have claimed to have attained to higher states, by looking at them, we can infer. They are no more ordinary people with an ordinary mindset. If you look at their personality, if you look at their behavior, very easily we can infer there is something much higher there. They are no more people with some irritating mindset, people who will get agitated with simple things. They are very stable. There are symptoms which will be shown outside also. So by looking at such people, you can infer also. So there is inference. At the same time, there has to be some faith that yes, there must be something. Thousands of people in every generation are endorsing the same thing. But something has terribly gone wrong with our generation. You know, I have seen it myself, especially our generation. Just because we gather some information about science from somewhere in our high school and college. Actually, many of the people don't even know what scientific method is. Just because they know the name of Newton and Einstein, they think they're scientific. And when this yoga is put in front of them, yoga or any path, Buddhism or whatever, I have seen this widespread tendency in our generation to say, all that is nonsense. You don't even know what you are doing. It is completely unscientific to do that. When something has built up over thousands of years, when thousands of people have endorsed it, not only endorsed it, they have told what you have to do. Do this and you will see it yourself. They have told it repeatedly. And if the whole thing, if you simply brush aside saying it is nonsense, something is terribly wrong with you if you do that. So just don't go by this attitude thinking it is scientific. It is absolutely unscientific, actually speaking. One should be willing to do something to begin with, to see the results. Only then you will see the proof yourself. Otherwise, even the proof you will not be able to see. See, even in science it is so. If you ask me, what is the proof for dual nature of light or whatever, some experiment will be shown to you, double slit experiment. Will you understand head and tail of it? Will you understand it? Will you be able to interpret it? You will not be. You will simply see some complicated gadgets, you will see something on the screen. How will you interpret it? To interpret it also you have to put some efforts and learn maybe. So before even you don't want to learn anything, and if you simply sit and tell, give me the proof of quantum physics, it won't come. Even if it comes, you won't understand it. So especially in the field of yoga, where the path itself is objective, if we go by, give me proof, I will question only. Only if you answer my questions, I will go into it. Without faith, if you question, it is not bound to get you anywhere. See, one confusion that has happened in the modern times is this. People are confusing suspicion to be skeptic. Skepticism is not suspicion. Those two are completely different things. When you are suspicious about something, it means you will question it no matter what. That is suspicion. Suspicion means there is already a negative conclusion about something. If you are suspicious about yoga or me, you will question everything that I say. Every statement can be questioned actually. Every single thing can be questioned if you are suspicious. But skeptic means somebody who does not conclude easily. Neither here nor there. Skeptic doesn't conclude. If you are really skeptic and if somebody tells you something, I have seen something more and this is how to get there, a skeptic will ask, okay, tell me how to get there. He will not conclude saying I am right or wrong. Skeptic means the ability to remain without conclusions, remaining open. And skeptic means willing to go through the exploratory process themselves. Without going through the exploratory process, if you simply sit and conclude, believe and disbelieve, the person will not get anywhere. So in yoga, or even in science actually, a sense of surrender to the system, a sense of surrender to the science, as well as questioning will go together. See, after you joined that course on quantum physics, with some conviction you joined, with some faith on all the scientists, you joined the course. You are now willing to put 2 years of your life into it. But after you join the course, with a lot of conviction on it, it doesn't mean that you should not question it. You have to sit in the classroom, and if the professor is saying something which doesn't look meaningful to you, you have to ask a question. How is it possible? You have to ask a question. But the question is coming out of conviction, not out of suspicion. How you ask the question matters more. So when we encourage questioning in Jnana Yoga, it doesn't mean simply asking questions no matter however you want. The questioning has to come out of some conviction. A fundamental conviction has to be there. Yes, there is something there. Thousands of people have told it. There must be a higher state. Don't conclude anything about it. Don't think that this is like this or like that. Don't conclude anything about it. But have a fundamental conviction that yes, there must be a higher state. And then ask questions as to how to get there. Don't ask questions about the final state. This is one problem that people have in spirituality in general. Everybody is always very curious about the final state. They question about the final state. See, I will give you a simple example. Suppose all of us are blind here. All of us are blind. I am also blind. And I will sit here and talk about Bhagavad Gita. I will tell Krishna was a man with eyesight. He had seen something. We are all blind. We have not seen something. Krishna has seen light. And Krishna has told, if you do these things, you will also see. You will also get eyesight and you will also see light. So this is what Bhagavad Gita is, I will tell you, in brief. Then most of the people, you know what they will do? They will start asking about light. They will start asking about the nature of light now. It is actually meaningless to you now. Your only question should be, how should I get eyesight? Should you bother about light now? See, if you bother about light now, people do it. I can sit here and talk about theory of light, whether light is particle or whether light is waves. We can sit and debate here endlessly. Even now it is not resolved for that matter. We can sit here and debate about it, whether light is particle or waves. We can debate. But blind people sitting and debating about the nature of light is comical. Similarly, seekers, real spiritual seekers, when they sit and debate about the nature of reality, it is comical. Your question should be, how should I see it myself? Once you see light, it is irrelevant whether light is particle or wave. Is it relevant to you? You see, that's enough. Once you get eyesight, a theory of light is no more useful to you. It is irrelevant. You can simply brush it aside. So questioning is, after questioning starts, questioning with faith, after questioning with conviction starts, even then there are many distractions possible. Many people are very much interested in questioning about the final state. Whether the sun is rectangle or square, whether light is red or blue, whether light is particle or waves. Blind people will sit and debate over it endlessly. Their whole life people do it. You make the metaphor into the actual meaning what I am talking about. People sit and debate about spirituality, whether Advaita is true or dualism is true, or whether God and me are different, whether God and me are one. They debate about reality endlessly. This is not helpful. You blind people sitting and debating about the final nature, the final reality, the nature of final reality is actually comedy. A seeker's only question should be, tell me how to get there. Tell me how should I get my eyesight. Tell me how should I see. That should be your only concern, not nature of light. But yes, you will see in the name of spirituality thousands of people debating on this. Thousands of people debating about the nature of reality within Bhagavad Gita itself. They will take a Bhagavad Gita and debate over it. They will think whether God is different from me, or whether I am part of God, or God is different from me. All these things, Dvaita, Vishishta, Advaita, whatever it is. See, people who saw themselves, they wrote something, and when they wrote it in different times, different people wrote differently. In fact, everybody said eventually, all of those people who wrote their own systems of philosophy, all of them unanimously told one thing, that it is vachamatitam, that it is beyond words, that it is beyond mind. If it is beyond words, then why should it matter to us to bring it down to set of words and say, this is the reality, a system of philosophy, this is reality? Because everybody unanimously said it is beyond words. So whether you give an Advaita philosophy or a Dvaita philosophy or a Vishishta philosophy, reality cannot be captured right. None of them. So whether which is right or what is wrong is actually irrelevant for seeker. For seeker, what should be relevant is, how should I see it? Well, see, whether sun is rectangle or square or a circle, You will see, no matter how it is, you don't have to have a theory about the size of the shape of the sun. Should you have a theory about the shape of the sun before you get eyesight? If you had a theory that sun is square, will you not see the sun when you get eyesight? You will see, irrespective of what theories you had, you will still see the sun because theories don't matter. Theories will matter only up to the extent of giving you methodologies. Only up to that extent theories are meaningful. If somebody gives a Siddhanta, Buddha came and gave a Siddhanta. But along with that he gave methods. He did not give just philosophy. But today what people are doing is they will take only the philosophy part. They will take away all the methodologies. They will not practice Buddhism actually. They will take Buddha's words and debate over Shunyavada. That is not what Buddha meant. He said, you do this, you follow these methods, you will see what I am saying yourself. You don't have to believe in my words or disbelieve my words. So everybody, Shankaracharya also told the same thing. They all gave methods. Yoga gave methods. Bhagavad Gita gave methods. Shiva gave methods. Everybody gave methods. But we lazy people are busy sitting and sleeping. We don't want to do anything. The only thing we want to do is believe what is belief. We want to criticize, sit and criticize. We want to be, in the name of being skeptic, we want to be suspicious. So, in yoga, these distractions, these problems exist. We may be intellectually very sharp, but intellect has a lot of distractions. We may be doing something very intellectual, but not fruitful. It is possible. Many people do it. You can sit and debate and have a theory of life intellectually, but not put any effort to get eyesight. So, when we come into the path of yoga, we should remember this, that conviction, a sense of surrender and questioning have to go together. And after that also, the questioning has to be of a certain type. Just because questioning is allowed in yoga doesn't mean you should simply want questioning whatever you want. Many times questions may not be helpful to you also. If they may be simply coming out of compulsion, if you want to ask something. So, in yoga, especially in Jnana Yoga, these things have to be taken care of, these things have to be paid attention to, otherwise the intellect will start going in circles, it will not get anywhere, it will start doing unnecessary things, thinking it is Jnana Yoga. Thank you. Om Asato